Never say never. Pat Holland Connor was in her 50s when she transformed her life spiritually, emotionally, and mentally from fear to self-acceptance. In her memoir, Doorways to Significance, Pat talks about her journey of finding peace, power, and passion while serving others. Pat Holland Connor joins me now. It's great to have you. I'm feeling the energy from you.
Thank you so much.
You had quite a childhood. You were growing up in the South in the 40s, but you didn't feel like you belonged. And why was that?
Well, the wrong baby was sent home with the wrong family. So there were two families who took home opposite babies, and I was one of those. And my parents found that out about an hour or more after they took me home. And so with those stories lasting, although I wasn't there, I didn't know the stories, but although they were retold over and over during the course of my life, I always felt that, is this really my family? Do I really belong? My family, I'm an African-American woman, and my family, their skin tone was darker than my own. And so I always would look in the mirror and wonder, I am not exactly like them, or am I the same? And so it was strange.
It was your family.
It was my family, yes, yes indeed. And it was a traumatic experience, and yet it was that limiting belief that I held within my body and my being and my mind all of my life that limited my opportunities to feel like I really belonged in the world.
So how did your family help you through this?
You know, they really didn't. I'm not sure they really ever knew how I really felt. Often we don't talk about what our deepest feelings are. We hold them within, and we do counter our opposite things to help us get over those deep-seated feelings.
Well, so how did you overcome it, since nobody was really there to help you?
I worked hard. I worked hard. I had to be the top of my class. I had to be the top of my group. I had to be the group one leader for the readers group and that kind of thing. And so that's how I compensated. And because I didn't feel that I belonged, and because others had difficulty accepting me, because I was different.
Right, you weren't quite sure if you were part of the African American community or the other side.
That's exactly right.
You weren't getting acceptance from both, is that right?
That's correct. And this was during the 40s and the 50s and prior to civil rights laws. And so I didn't understand about why there was a white water fountain and a colored water fountain and how that affected me. What's different about that, and what's different about me?
So where would you go? Which line would you go? I mean,
well, I would go to the colored water fountain because that's where my mom would take me. However, I would sneak over to the white water fountain and turn it on real quick to see if there was any difference in the water.
Well, you changed your life when you turned, you were around when you turned around your 50, is that right?
Well, it was actually before that. It was before that. It was, like after university days. And what happened then was I was asked to be a token employee for one of the major corporations in Houston, Texas, where I grew up. And I was the first African-American hired in a major company. It was a utility company in Houston. And I remember my sociology professor saying to me and to my family, no, you'll have many, many more opportunities to be the first African-American in any organization. He was more aware of the changes in our world and in our community and in our America than my family was, and then I was. And so, but needless to say, I took the job. And it was through that experience of being different, treated differently, asked to come in at a different time during the day, but also recognizing that I was not immediately, people weren't immediately aware that I was African American when they walked into a sea of whiteness in the company.
And so that really changed your life dramatically.
Well, it affected me. It affected me emotionally, it affected me in every way, and the effect that it had on me was that I lived with a belief that I wasn't enough. I lived with a belief that I didn't belong, that what I do or who I am really doesn't matter. So it limited my ability to manifest my highest good, my strong talents and abilities, my ability to grow.
Well, you've been able to do that now, so what advice do you have for people? How did you do it?
Here's what I did. I joined the Peace Corps at age 50 after a divorce of 30 years. the biggest and the greatest adversity and devastation in my life. And rather than sulk in, the blues of what was going on, through a lot of opportunity and challenge, I was able to join the Peace Corps. And it was in being of service to others that I came to recognize not my difference, but my the unconditional love that others had for me, just as I am. And because of that, I stayed abroad. I was in the Peace Corps in Thailand and left the Peace Corps and then went to the Middle East and worked in the Middle East in Kuwait and back then to Thailand. And I'm a family therapist by training. I taught high school for many years and am also a substance abuse counselor. So I did many things on the road to get to being able to say yes to myself and accept myself.
So what kind of advice do you have for folks who are trying to get to that point of self-acceptance?
It's never too late to change the brokenness. Ever, never too late. You can make a decision today, and it doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 60, or 70. It's never too late to change the brokenness in your life.
What keeps people from doing that?
By making a choice and a decision to seek help, ask for assistance, find out what else is it that I can do, and what is the dream that you came into this lifetime to be. You know, the dreams in our lives are etched in our hearts at the time we're born. And so that was kind of what I started to do, was like, what is it that I really want? Well, I've always had the dream of wanting to travel and to go abroad, and I did.
Do you think that most people who have had adversities throughout their life, well, of course we all have ups and downs,
we do
they just are not able to turn things around because they don't realize that they need to use that to motivate themselves?
That's quite possible. And also I believe that what many don't believe or know is that they have the answers within. All of the answers were within me. I just didn't know they were there.
All right. So the name of the book, again, for everybody, is Doorways to Significance, Finding Peace, Power, and Passion. And where can we get this book?
You can get it at my website, pathconner.com, or Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's in both print and digital.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.